Welcome back at WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We are positively merging a sports brand and a Baltimore Positive brand, and I swear, Dennis Koulatsos, you know this. You've done web development. Whenever the web developers tell me we're going to launch, we're going to launch. But we are getting close. I'm looking at it. You've looked at it. The Coons Ford ads are all, positioned and coming together right now. So I'm working on it. But I'm back from Houston, and whenever we launch this site, the good news is the Ravens are 2-0 at least until Monday night, right?
There's nothing wrong with that, man. I was concerned about the Houston game, and they went down there. It was a bit of an uneven performance, but the boys certainly took care of business. It was good to see. Nothing like being 2-0 and on to Kansas City. The only thing that really stinks, and look, first of all, we're grateful that we were able to see football, right? There was a time where you and I didn't think we'd even see a kickoff to begin the season. So the fans not being there really stinks, but boy, oh boy, all eyes of the nation are going to be tuned into this Kansas City Chiefs coming to Baltimore.
I wrote a long blog about my travel to Houston, and I know I was on your show last week. You were on my show. I talked about it maybe being a little depressing, right? Like that I would be there and be like, what am I doing here? Have some survivor guilt that I'm the only one that's getting to witness it. I didn't feel anything like that, man. Like I landed in a hurricane. I drove to the stadium. I knew no one was going to be there. So I wasn't shocked that no one was there, right? It was raining sideways. I took the elevator up. I got up there. Yes, it was a little quiet. It felt like a library. There was no one there anywhere.
So let me interrupt you a sec. You couldn't hear the music that was piped in from the stadium?
No.
You couldn't hear it then?
You can hear it through the glass.
Gotcha.
I mean,
so I guess the piped in music. I mean, the noise. That's just for the TV.
That's for television.
The listening audience.
That is a television.
Gotcha. But for you, it was quiet.
But it's always quiet when I'm in a press box.
I got
you know what I mean?
Okay.
And to me, being in a press box and on the road, I usually sit in the press box. But, Dennis, I've sat in the bowl of every stadium in the league the first 20 years of the league. I mean, I've just started sitting in press boxes on the road, I don't know, since Twitter, the last 10 years. The first 15 years, I sat in the upper deck I sat with Mike Flynn's parents. Wherever they were is usually where I was for a long, long time with my wife, the whole deal. The press box experience of being at a hockey game, you hear the sound. The press box experience of baseball, you get fresh air, right? The press box experience of football over since the new stadiums have been built, right? The new stadiums tend to put the press box behind glass. It tends to be a professional environment where there are microphones and you hear the down and distance from the press box announcer. You hear injury reports from the press box announcer. So for me, all of the press box stuff, other than wearing a mask and the cubicle part of it and the fact that it was only me and Jonas Schaefer from the Sun. There were 2 Baltimore reporters there. Jonas Schaefer from the Sun and myself. That was it then. And I would say that once the game started and I started tweeting and, looking and seeing packages and getting down in distances, I never gave it a thought that nobody would be leaping into an end zone. I never thought about how empty. I didn't write this because I wrote more about something that is along the lines of you and me and the knee in London and the knee before the game. Dennis, what I wrote was this. You got guys in this team that are Trumpers. You got guys in this team that are Black Lives Matters guys. I saw 5 guys sitting on the bench during the national anthem. I saw 15 guys taking a knee and another 35 guys standing, and females, other people on the benches. And I thought to myself, well, those people probably don't agree politically on much, like most of us, right? But they all got together 30 seconds later, put their helmets on, like you do at Coons Ford, like I do at WNST, like everyone who listens does at their workplace. And they went out and they performed as a unit, as a team. And I think we put so much on the national anthem and so much on everything that's going on politically in our country that has brought us to wearing a mask and being in Texas in an empty stadium where, 200 miles away up in Dallas, they had a quarter of a stadium because Jared wanted that, So all of this being said, that when the game starts at 1 o'clock, there's something about that I love. And, you know, and having it taken away from you and me, you had it taken away from you last weekend. We're not going to the game on Monday night. There's something about having it taken away that really makes you ponder, how important is it? How important was Earl Campbell to you? How important was Burt Jones to me, or Johnny U to my dad, or any of them, or Ray Lewis to you and Christos? You know, like, how important is it in the whole grand scheme of things? And what I've come to realize is I really love football, Dennis. I'll just leave it at that and let you go. I love football, and I felt privileged to be there, and I felt like it was where I belonged. I felt like it was maybe the only normal thing I've done in a long time. And even though it wasn't normal, the game was normal. And other than the press conference thing where I was texting with John Harbaugh, kidding him about how I didn't get to ask a question. You know what I mean? So he and I were texting back and forth all night on Sunday after I flew all the way to Houston, didn't even get to ask a question. So, but all of that went on, but we're a really good football team. And if you love football and if you love the Ravens, you're looking forward to Monday night. And I can't say that there's been a whole lot the last 6 months that any of us have looked forward to on any Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday night, right?
Yeah, I think it's a great step towards normalcy, to get the country back on its feet again, to get everybody doing normal things and working. And we do love football, and the brand, Nestor, has been very good. It's been outstanding. Given the fact that they didn't even have a preseason, we saw the overtime game between the Chiefs and the Chargers. We saw a great game, a great finish between the Cowboys and the Falcons. Some really compelling football. We saw the Patriots and the Seahawks have a wonderful game, Sunday night. So the brand has been very good. The Ravens game was it wasn't that exciting, but it never really hung in the balance. I'm talking about the outcome, but it was really nice, as you said. Once the whistle blows, everything else goes away. We're able to immerse ourselves into watching a wonderful product. And the biggest concern right now, Nestor, all these ACLs, all these knee tears around the league, and that speaks to maybe the lack of a preseason conditioning for the players. That's the biggest drawback. And of course, we saw Tavon Young go down once again with a devastating season-ending knee injury.
Well, we had it with Tavon Young, and then you go across the league for, just go up and down every Saquon Barkley and McCaffrey. Just, for all the teams, the level of play has been high. I don't feel like it's been a holding fest or a flag fest. I mean, there's been real attention to detail, I think, by a lot of organizations. And then you just got your Jets or your teams that just aren't very good, right, or aren't very well coached at this point. But by and large, I would agree with you that the pandemic has been an awakening for the NFL in a lot of ways for structure and accountability. I mean, Harbaugh's talked about all in. And, I did think about what the teams and the franchises, and yes, they're being paid like you're being paid at Coons Ford. I'm being paid here at NST, and, and they're professionals. But what those organizations have gone to get to this point. And now we have the Chiefs coming in as the world champions, and they had their boat rocked over the weekend. They had their little scare. But you talk about not having a game in the the balance, and the outcome of the balance, I should say. Monday night, this is going to be a great football game, and I have no idea how this is going to go. I mean, the immovable object and the force and all that good stuff. This is a real chance for the organization to establish itself as the team to beat this year. But the whole notion of home field advantage, certainly I saw that with my own eyes on Sunday as Lamar Jackson walked under center and kind of did whatever he wanted to do. It's going to be that way for Mahomes. There's a real advantage to being a visiting team in the NFL to me this year. If you're the visitor, it's an advantage.
Yeah, you make great points. I've got a couple of points to make here. One of my Twitter buddies pointed out that the referee crew that refereed the game between the Ravens and the Texans, the Ravens under that crew has been 8-1 because that crew tends to let the teams play. They let the teams play very physical. They call very few penalties. And those kind of refereeing crews favor a physical team like the Ravens. And that's one thing that we don't talk about enough, I think, in sports is the outcome that referees have on games, whether it's baseball or football or hockey or NBA basketball. So I thought that was a big plus, and something I have to start paying attention to is who is a crew coming in, how are they going to call the game. I'm sure the coaching staff for the Ravens pays a lot of attention to it. But for Monday night with the Chiefs, look, what a wonderful, fantastic matchup. I saw their kicker, who I thought was insanely accurate and good under pressure. he makes a 53-yarder and I called the timeout, and he makes a 58-yarder, same thing, and he goes back again and nails another 58-yarder. 3 kicks, 53, 58, 58. That guy's a star. I think he's in the same category as Justin Tucker. And you couldn't ask for a better matchup Monday night. The Ravens look very much a part of the NFL's best team this past Sunday. And as you mentioned, they have a chance to cement that status with a victory against the Chiefs. They're 0-2 against the Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium. But what a wonderful primetime matchup. And I'm going to come home early and take a 2-hour nap, and I'm going to wake up just to make sure that I'm nice and fresh for the game and the activities.
Dennis Koulatsos joining us here. He'll be here on Thursday again from 3 until 5, and, of course, before the games on Sunday, but not the game on Monday, although he may join me next Monday before we do this and play some Monday Night Football here. For the Ravens, and I talked to Luke at length about this on Sunday after the game, and I was going to ask John this question, but I wound up asking Lamar, and I don't think he heard my question the right way. I'm trying to figure out this week, how does Lamar Jackson go back and watch the 24 throws he made, 18 of them successfully, right, and say, okay, 6 of them, maybe it was a bad pass or a read or guy drop, whatever it is, but how many decisions does he make in a game that when he goes back and watches the film afterward, that he made the wrong decision in his own mind, right? There was one point where he forced the ball into Mark Andrews, and again, I'm up on the roof, and Jonas and I are there, and Jonas and I are like, oh my God, Dobbins was wide open. He was wide open. And I'm thinking, there's not a whole lot of that. And you can see that from the 800 level, at Reliance Stadium, whatever the hell they're calling it, looking down. And I wonder how often in the end, because it really does feel like there's not a whole lot you would pull back on him right now, where the knock on him as a passer was arm strength, throwing the out, seeing the field, runs too much, doesn't look the pass, runs too much. Now we're 2 years into this, and I do think he runs too much, and I think he runs the contact too much. If there's anything I was going to coach him, would be get down, hook slide, get out of bounds. Don't be here. You don't need to take contact, Lamar. You're the quarterback. You don't really need to get hit to get an extra yard unless we're moving sticks and we're behind. But when we're up by 14 points, a little more conservative health for him would be advised, and especially for John not to get him off the field. But I would say this, from a decision-making standpoint, in the passing game, when he fades back and says, unless it's a designed run, if he goes back and sees nothing and takes off, but when he's surveying the field where he wants to go with the ball, he's so much better at that than anybody ever said he would be.
Yeah, he is phenomenal. I mean, we're running out of superlatives for this young man. He sees the field the entire field real well. He goes through his progressions, and I think the weapons that they've added for him, J.K. Dobbins, Devin Duvernay, the emergence of Miles Boykin, all these things, and I think Lamar is going to learn to trust these new weapons that he has. I mean, why run the ball when you can hand it off to a guy like J.K. Dobbins, or maybe throw him a 5 or 10 yard pass and watch him go for 20 or 30? So they've done a lot to help him, and he's also done a lot to help himself. And look, it's just a joy to watch an explosive offense in Baltimore. He's a generational quarterback, and Eric DeCosta and Ozzie Newsome have supported him with weapons. The offensive line, a little bit of a question mark there. It's a run blocking line. They don't do a really great job of pass blocking. We see that time and time again, but they just can hurt you in so many ways. And then you circle back to the defense, and they even without Tavon Young, they look very, very strong, very, very good. And you have to love what you see out of the 2 rookie linebackers. Those guys are very active, and they're all over the field.
Yeah, I said Malik Harrison. We're going to be Googling him before it's all over, along with Patrick Queen. Dennis, tell everybody what's going on at Coons Ford. I know you're just waiting for Monday Night for Football. I mean, you'll sell some cars during the week, and you'll take care of people, but at some point it all stops around 7 o'clock on Monday night, right?
Well, we have a great customer base, and the great advertising we get through at WNST certainly drives traffic to our stores. We do a lot of repeat and referral business, so you know what? It's just a gift that keeps on giving. I just feel very grateful, very blessed right now. Ford Motor Company still giving up 0% for 72 months. The deals are there. The product is there. The service that we provide is there. The community support that we have. It's Baltimore. You talk about Baltimore positive. Who would ever thought that a store in Woodlawn on Security Boulevard would be a top 50 volume store in the nation, out of 3,200 Ford dealers, winning all kind of awards. But, we take care of people. We go the extra mile for everyone, and really appreciate the support that the community has given us, and we certainly give it right back.
Dennis, I appreciate you. We'll appreciate some undefeated football on Thursday from 3 until 5. It is the Sunday Sports Voice now, the Dennis Koulatsos Show, heard on Thursdays from 3 until 5. You can follow him out on Twitter and follow him all the way over to Coons Ford. I will see you on Thursday, Dennis.
You got my friend with the undefeated Ravens. We'll talk about the undefeated Ravens, the soon-to-be undefeated Ravens, and I'm going to pick your brain about your trip to Houston too.
Well, we gotta keep talking undefeated while they're still undefeated, because once you're not undefeated, you can't be undefeated again. So,
well, I will leave you with this. I like our chances better against the Chiefs than I did against the Texans. I'm more confident in this game than I was against the Texans. I thought there was a shot that we might lose that game, but since we got through the Texans now, I'm very confident we're going to come away with a victory over the Chiefs.
I just hope somebody brings me some Jack Stack barbecue with those big onion rings like they have at Burke's. Dennis Koulatsos can be found. Dennis Koulatsos, he's out at NSD blogging. He's over at Coons Ford, Security Boulevard from time to time as well. Find him there, find him here, and find him at D Koulatsos Show on Twitter. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, WNST Dallas in Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports, Baltimore Ravens, and Baltimore positive.